Alright, before we get into today's video, I have some things that I want to talk about. Number one, at roughly the time of release of this video, assuming that you are watching it when it drops on Monday, April 31st, one or more cards are probably being banned in Legacy. Get down in the comments with your thoughts immediately, if you don't mind, because when I get home from teaching today, I am going to sit down and record a ban reaction video for tomorrow, for Tuesday, so that I can kind of immediately give you my thoughts. Wednesday and Thursday's videos are going to be non-legacy videos. I have to keep recording. It's, kind of my job, so I have to at least keep a little bit of a buffer. But then new legacy content in the post-ban world will be starting on April 4th. So that's my game plan for the next couple of days. Now, let's get into some Lumra. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. And today, Edison has asked me to play Lumra Living Wish Lands once again, but has requested that we slot in some copies of Malevolent Rumble, which is a fantastic way to pick up permanents other than just lands, as well as the One Ring. And I'm also going to use today to test out Burgeoning. I have kind of floated back and forth about what should be in this deck. Are we mulch? Are we mulch and Winding Way? Do we go into blue for Treasure Cruise? There is a lot to think about here. And I'm going to try running 10 1-drops that allow me to make additional land drops in some capacity. And between the Loams, the Living Wish, the Malevolent Rumbles, the Mulches, and the One Rings, hopefully I can keep making those land drops afterwards. The biggest fundamental change that I'm making to the deck here is one of the Living Wish targets. It was suggested to me that Walking Ballista is a very good out to Magus of the Moon, as well as Harbinger of the Seas. So while I had been previously looking for a fight creature to do that same job and was kind of coming up short, Walking Ballista can be cast depending on whether my islands are mountains or forests or, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter what you turn them into, they're still going to tap for colorless mana. So I think this is a very good answer to one of the problems that I was having with the deck. Now, our general strategy is the same as before. Make zombies, win game eventually. Hopefully we can tax our opponents out of oblivion, maybe literally running them out of lands, and keep fair creatures in check with Maze of Ith. As always, we want to play against fair decks when we boot up a strategy like this one. We do have some agency versus unfair decks. We can bring in a set of Leyline of the Voids, we can Living Wish for a couple of specific tutor targets that can help in those matchups, but generally speaking, it's an uphill battle versus combo. So we want to play against fair stuff, and if we play against combo, we would prefer it would be Reanimator. We have access to Karakas, we have access to a bunch of copies of Maze of Ith, we have some ability to fight back against that. So let's go, let's make a bunch of land drops, and should you need some new cards for this post-banning world of, I don't know, hopefully at least sowing Mycospawn and something from Reanimator, maybe something from Oops if I've been a good boy, then please check out my sponsor, toamagic.com. They tend to have 95% of standard legal stuff in stock at any given time, and they have a bunch of really sweet old cards as well. Promo code ThrabenU will save you a little bit on your order, and remember, Dark-Eared Dragonstorm is coming up as well, and that set looks to be sweet. I have some really good ideas cooking. So, that being said, let's battle. This hand looks acceptable. I have a Manabond, which is a very powerful card. I have a bunch of lands that I can dump into play. I can play Manabond on 1, choose not to use it, cast Living Wish on 2, and go from there. Although I might Wasteland my opponent's Volcanic Island immediately. Most of the time these days when I see a straight Volcanic Island, that has meant combo, that has meant show and tell. So setting them back might be good. This play is better if I draw an untapped land, and a little worse if I don't. A Life from the Loam. I am into doing this then. So I do have some potential mana production issues. 2 of these don't tap for lands, or sorry, for mana. 1 of these is an ETB tapped land. Hopefully Manabond can help to mitigate that. All right, I think my called shot was correct here. So I'm not dazable right now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and Manabond. I would like this to resolve. It's really fucking good if it resolves. So now, I think I Manabond in all my lands, just junk Living Wish, ignore the fact that this could get Caracas, and try to wasteland my opponent into Oblivion as my game plan for how I actually win. Otherwise, I'm actually somewhat unlikely to go and cast this Living Wish in the short term. Honestly, in the short to medium term. So we Legend Rule a Tabernacle, I Surveil 1, Field of the Dead can go to the graveyard. That's fine. And now I have very powerful Life from the Loam based strategies coming up. We do need to dodge Show and Tell this turn. I do have a Maze of Ith to help. Tabernacle, less useful here. Do we dodge? Like, we would be fine with my opponent casting Stock Up this turn, for example. Ooh, it's still possible for Lotus Petal Show and Tell creature or Lotus Petal Show and Tell Omniscience creature to happen off of this, but it's harder. Shit. It's Omniscience. That is an Emrakul. I have 5 permanents. This is unfortunate. If I make it to my next turn, I kill this, and I am in fantastic shape from there. GG. Opponent took a high-risk play doing that Brainstorm, but it paid off. So, I am probably not going to sideboard too much here. The Caracas should probably stay in the sideboard for Living Wish. I could also just board down on Living Wishes, though. Like, I could just board in Show and Tell targets in the place of Living Wish. So I do this, I just board in the Rex Sage, board in the Lumra, board in the Ramunap, board in the Caracas, swap something for Field of the Dead, and that is a way that I could approach this matchup instead of keeping Living Wish. And I just like board out 1 Tabernacle. Tabernacle is not super impressive here. And then this lets me use my 2-drop mana on this stuff instead. Feels medium. I'm gonna try boarding like this. I don't know that this is better. Living Wish being telegraphed prior to the Show and Tell is just very awkward for me. This is Manabond with no source of card advantage. I have some ways to disrupt lands, but I don't think this is great. This is also not great. I think I'm going to fish harder here. I think this is going to be a tough matchup. This is easily the best hand so far. So I keep this stuff, these 5, and hope that it pays off from here. Malevolent Rumble finding a Life from the Loam could be great. So hopefully we can just Surveil land on 1 and use that to help do something cool. Opponent's got some initial selection. We might not have very much time. Opponent did mulligan once. We mulliganed twice. And then end of turn, I'm going to go ahead and pick up a Surveil land here. Let's get the blue one, make them think we could maybe have counterspells. I do not want another Exploration. Yeah, that's what I want. I want like a 2-mana payoff card here. Let's mulch around Daze. No, let's Malevolent Rumble around Daze. Because then, depending on what I hit, I could mulch afterwards. Am I taking Maze? I could take Maze. Do I want to mulch around Daze, or do I just need to play my card? I might need to just play my card. I'm also not going to take Maze. I'm going to take Misty. This lets me play second land drop, cast Mulch, and Surveil land afterwards. Okay. So I picked up some land, but I don't have anything to do with my mana yet. And my opponent is not currently wastelandable. Not a great start. I could try to find something like a Field of the Dead and work towards actually winning. But we're very much a prison deck. We need a little while to get going. I don't know that we're going to get that little while. There's the fetch to clear that Brainstorm. More basic island, not what I want to see. There is a question of exactly how many basics is my opponent playing. Okay, cool. No follow-up beyond that. I don't think my Ghost Quarter is live yet. Let's Surveil. Ramunap? That's probably an above average draw. Ramunap Ghost Quarter is kind of cute. Ramunap Ghost Quarter Exploration. Yeah. Okay. We're going somewhere with this. Alright, it's in play. So, are we 1-800 are you ghost quartering is I think where we're at. I think we're ghost quartering. Mountain comes out. I ghost quarter again. I take out the mountain. No other land comes out. Okay, okay. So I have successfully denied mana. We are working towards something real here. Boarding in the Ramunap. Had massive upside there. My opponent is at Show and Tell mana, though. My opponent is at Sneak Attack and Activate mana. Fuck. Alright, damage report. Pretty bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This doesn't technically kill me, but boy, it sucks. So this costs me my entire board and all but 3 of my life. My opponent has said GG. You have not killed me. You have not killed me. That is a sneak attack. That's an Atraxa, which is a real annoying thing to bounce. Lotus Petal plus Emrakul will do it even if I bounce one of them. Unfortunate. I needed one more turn cycle there, I think, to wipe out my opponent's remaining lands and then be stable when I draw this Karakas.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists. And they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out.
Okay, I'm going to trust in the deck to draw something reasonable to do. Given that I have 2 fetch lands that can both represent Surveil lands, I think that's fine. I am not going to play Burgeoning as well this turn. I would rather Surveil. Ye old polluted Delta into Ponder. It is possible that that is my opponent's only basic island. We'll see how saucy we're feeling next turn. I do not need a snow-covered forest. Oh, a regular forest. Thank you, deck. So let's get a Burgeoning in there. I into it? I think I'm into it. Called shot. You got 1 island. They have 1 island. I will throw a Misty into play so that I can Surveil again, and maybe we Burgeon a bit. Note that this also had the upside of shuffling the remaining good cards off of Ponder. Burgeon! We maze. So now I get to Surveil a second time. We're looking for something to do like on 2 mana. Hey, something to do on like 2 mana. Beautiful. Since I have multiple land drops here, I think I'm just going to play Forest so that I innately play around a Spell Pierce style card. Well, fuck me! The Life from the Loam does go to my graveyard, so like this is bad this turn specifically, but then I have Life from the Loam Ghost Quarter for the remainder of the game and multiple land drops. Like, we're going places. Bowmasters is fine. Like, that is 1 damage per turn cycle to us. We're not really going to be drawing cards unless we draw that 1 copy of the One Ring, or there's 2 of them. Land is fine. You like to waste my lands? No? Maze one of them. You can, like, maze the Orcish Bowmasters to be better versus another Bowmasters being played out, or you can maze the Bowmasters because that's better if Kaito happens, and it's kind of a wash. Yeah. So Kaito's kind of annoying. An opponent can Surveil. Is hexproof on my opponent's turn. Kind of problematic. Whatever. I will just make 10,000 zombies at some point, and everything will be fine. Life from the Loam. Hey, there's Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead, Ghost Quarter, a fetch land is fine. Yeah, and yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Field of the Dead now triggers. I could Ghost Quarter myself to get another zombie at some point. I might just want to destroy my opponent's Underground Sea. Like, chump block Kaito for a while, just keep them from casting more blue stuff. That sounds pretty good. Yep, so those are true land destruction. Ghost Quarters at this point. The opponent's going to temporarily take out Field of the Dead. I will get it back on my turn. That's not that big of a deal. If they make a land drop, I get to Burgeoning. Nice. Yeah, and then we'll just hold that for Field of the Dead purposes. The opponent's going to go ahead and attack with both. I know an Orcish Bowmasters can be coming. I think I'm just going to block the Kaito, and then I'll maze this. Then I take 0, and it seems like every turn that I take 0 is just largely favorable for me. My opponent could keep making the Kaito bigger. I don't know how much that happens. So that's just Surveil 2. I didn't lose life this turn. And Nethergoyf to graveyard. Sure. There's some blue mana that I will hopefully obliterate in a second. And now I just want to work towards finding one of my copies of the Tabernacle at Pendrelvale. My opponent basically needs a Force of Negation, or my current graveyard resources will just eat them alive. Reg, Field of the Dead, Ghost Quarter, Oseiju? Yeah? That is a tempo Force of Will. I'll be back next turn. Yeah, when this all resolves, I can Ghost Quarter swap both Seiju and Underground Sea if I want, and really work on obliterating those lands. Go ahead and Maze of Ith the Orc. I'm at 11. Now Kaito's Surveil is better. It will be attached to a draw. Don't have anything for Burgeoning here. What you got? A Goyf? A Delve card? Maybe a Murktide then? Murktide is not all that scary of an addition to the board. We dredge. Ooh, multiple Field of the Dead. That's real good. Field. Ghost Quarter still? Probably still Ghost Quarter. 1 and 2. That is another Force of Will. That buys my opponent some time. But, like, the dam is ready to burst. My opponent needs a Wasteland for this Maze of Ith. That's worth so much damage. They don't have it. I will Maze Murktide Regent. I'm going to get Bowmastered for a little bit more damage here. I'm going to be at 10 and then at 5. Kaito will do the Kaito thing again. And my opponent needs yet another counterspell. I will dredge. Oh, there's another maze. That's fantastic. Field, maze. 1 and 2. Okay, it has resolved. Field of the Dead. Trigger. And now it's, do I want to be better versus a wide, like, creatures going wide, or do I want to be better versus Murktide Regent specifically? Like, playing the second field is incredibly good here. But so is playing the second maze. So I effectively have 2 zombies and am at 4 life. So I block. If I get wastelanded, I take 1. If I play maze, that's fine. Let's just maze. And I don't have to Wooded Foothills immediately, right? If I play out the second maze, I don't think I do. I think I can just hold this for a turn. I'm not guaranteed stable here, but this is looking good. Fatal Push on a zombie, that's fine. Now it's block. Oh, okay, sure. So now it's probably block, maze, take 1. That's not bad. Well, 2, counting the fetch itself. So 4. Grab a Bayou just for things with different names. Go to blocks. Block Kaito. Kaito can't be mazed. Maze Murktide. Maze Orc. Take 1. Spellbomb is rough. Alright, so opponent's just going to leave that there. I probably don't dredge now that my opponent just has that Spellbomb floating there. Just any land that I find is 2 zombies, so. Yeah, okay. This is fine. And Tabernacle makes 2 more zombies. And I believe that my opponent also has to pay for Kaito. Okay, yep. That's what we want to do. Grind them out, absolutely. That one was tight. I was absolutely worried there for a little while. So versus some sort of blue-black tempo deck, I don't think we need to be boarding in Leylines. I should potentially board in Dismember, specifically because Harbinger of the Seas is something that can come out of the sideboard, and that card is scary. So while a lot of the threats are kind of like, whatever, Harbinger of the Seas does not mess around. How do we feel about Living Wish here? Do I want to be a Living Wish deck for this game? Yeah, I think I want a Living Wish for Walking Ballista. You know my opponent has 2 basics. Opponent had game 1 Graveyard Hate. I still think Loam is fine. The One Ring is worse if my opponent is a Bowmaster deck. I am thinking about these as my potential cuts. If I board all of those out, I play Dismember, another Field of the Dead, probably. Leave this. Or maybe I board this in, still leave that to wish for. Maybe just finding a Tabernacle is more disruptive. Win eventually. I could board both. I was thinking about just playing Ramunap Excavator. The extra land drops is kind of a big deal. Let's board in the extra land. Hand's great. Double Maze of Ith is really strong. Exploration is fantastic. I may or may not actually play Exploration on one. I might just wasteland my opponent. Tamiyo. Maze of Ith, not the best versus that. Tamiyo is less scary if I just wasteland my opponent into Oblivion. If Exploration resolves, I Exploration and wasteland immediately. I think I am just going to hit this thing. Opponent gets their clue when they attack, and does have another land. I have nothing else good to do with my turn other than play Exploration, so I will play a Dazeable Exploration here. That's fine. The upside of being able to surveil while doing something else is pretty high. Ooh, we get a Force of Negation for our troubles. That's fine. And then if opponent gets basics, I have Ghost Quarters that start turning into strip mines. Tamiyo clues, second land, and passing the turn. Let's try to find something to do with my mana here. That one's awkward. I think I just put it in my graveyard. I'm sad to see that one go to my graveyard, but I think that's just what's happening. An opponent will presumably crack a clue. They'll be at 5 cards after they draw, and they'll replace the clue on their own turn and pass. Murktide? Tiny Murktide? Tiny Murktide. That's fine. I have Maze of Ith for that. So let's get Maze number 1 into play here. I don't love how this is playing out. Without making the additional land drops here, I'm not really doing a ton. Alright, opponent doesn't even bother. Crack a clue. Now my opponent can crack yet another clue to flip Tamiyo, but they don't want to. Which is wild to me, because I am afraid of losing this game to the Tamiyo Ultimate, not losing this game to clue tokens. I'm going to put a Ghost Quarter into play. Then if my opponent slams something like a Harbinger of the Seas, I can at least go and get a basic forest and have that covered. Oh, I also just noticed we're pretty far ahead on clock. Not enough to be problematic or worrisome or anything, but enough that if we end up having a few more grindy games like what happened in game 1, it's weird. Okay, so here's the frustrating thing about not playing the second maze, is now my opponent gets to hit me for 4. Do I want to Ghost Quarter myself to get a basic right now? I don't think so. I want to be able to pull that lever specifically if my opponent drops Harbinger of the Seas. Otherwise, my Ghost Quarter is better served on the other side of the battlefield. Kaito? Kaito. Annoying. Kaito could eat me alive if I don't draw a way to accelerate lands or something to do with my mana. As we saw last game, Kaito is irrelevant if I get Field of the Dead going, and horrifying before that. Living Wish. I could potentially Living Wish and play a 2-drop immediately. Collector Oof is kind of funny. I think I'm going to Living Wish for Ramunap. That is a Force of Negation, pitching a Daze. I will play Maze of Ith to soak up 4 points of damage, but I'm still taking a good chunk here. Like, I'm still taking 5 as it currently stands. Crack a clue. Maze Murktide. I'm at 8. I'm not quite as far as worried yet, but if my draw step does not deliver, I think I am likely dead. Holy shit. Okay. That doesn't help me either. Sure. Life from the Loam is late, right? So I play Maze of Ith. I maze. I'm not technically dead. No, my opponent spellbombs me. Grows these. These are 4s. Yeah, not great. Not great. I'm going to play Maze. I'm going to cast Life from the Loam with 3 targets and see how my opponent feels about that. Like, we'll see if they want to eat the extra Maze of Ith, or if they're just going to eat the Life from the Loam. Yeah, I mean, about the only other thing that I can do here is do a Lair of the Hydra for like X equals 1 to jump block a Goyf. Oh, my opponent just fetched blue instead of black. So they don't get to draw a card. So their Swamp is in their hand, meaning that Ghost Quarter is currently a land destruction card. I don't think I get out of this. Oh, right, the Kaito Plus. That'll do. So now I maze 2 of these, and I do take 8. Okay. Opponent is a little more graveyard oriented than I was expecting. I still think I am not going to Leyline. I desperately wanted the Burgeoning effect this game, though. Maybe I am playing too scared of Harbinger of the Seas, and I should just play the other two Burgeonings as well. They don't really want to dismember my opponent's normal creatures, other than maybe Tamiyo. Do I want a Living Wish for Karakas or just board Karakas in over some other flex slot? It is good against Tamiyo specifically. I have the option to Living Wish for Tabernacle and play Karakas. I could go up one land or move one Field of the Dead back to the board. I really want to just naturally draw Field of the Dead with Manabond versus this Kaito deck, though. Let's do this. This is a medium hand. I think I'm going to keep it. I am not happy about it. I don't think I can justify throwing it back, but Living Wish is a little slow here. The good news is that the Living Wishes are pretty likely to resolve. The bad news is having 2 copies of Living Wish means that I'm not dumping my hand with Manabond immediately. Where did I land on lands that are left in the board? None. Okay. Figure out what exactly that means for me in a minute. Tamiyo. Do not have Karakas to wish for. So let's cast a Living Wish. Alright, opponent potentially had Force of Will and did not attack Manabond. Or drew Force of Will as their card for first turn. I think I am potentially getting Ramunap Excavator with Living Wish. Tabernacle would be solid. Wasteland's fine. Alright, opponent is just cracking a clue. So I think I am into Wasteland, target your Underground Sea. Then Daze is not online. Then I can Living Wish. I will have 3 mana next turn, which probably means that Ramunap Excavator is the pick. And then I cast Ramunap Excavator, and kind of regardless of how that goes, I probably Manabond at my end step. Unless opponent attacks my Yavimaya to try to keep me off of Ramunap in the short term. Ooh, the tapped land. Tamiyo gets a clue. Yeah, I am getting short-term tempo wastelanded. Do I want to surveil? With Ramunap coming, surveilling feels pretty good. Tamiyo gets a clue yet again. Now Tamiyo flips, which is annoying. This is something that my opponent did not actively work towards in the previous game, but is actually quite potent against me. I have a Blast Zone that can get rid of a flipped Tamiyo, but otherwise I don't attack very much. I don't attack very quickly either. So Tamiyo at 4 loyalty. We have a little while until we get to 7, but this is not great. Ponder's fine. And I'll surveil at end of turn. Oseiju. I don't need that. Play Ghost Quarter. Drop Ramunap. I don't expect to resolve. I am correct. Now, do I want to make additional land drops here? I don't really need to, so let's hold them for Field of the Dead. Having a big Field of the Dead turn is a way that I could overpower this Tamiyo. Goif? My opponent has now returned a Force of Will with Tamiyo, so they are not just trying to plus to the moon, they are trying to play this slightly more defensively, which honestly might be better for me. I'm going to cast this Exploration. I have very little reason not to, right? And then I will just be fine with making 1 land drop here. My opponent's just got an end of turn Brainstorm for pure mana efficiency reasons. So a lot of this game is going to boil down to, do I draw a Field of the Dead? My spells are going to be very likely to resolve with 1 Force of Will in hand, with another waiting in graveyard. Aha, take 2. Wasteland's fine there. I will take 4. And we'll see how the top of the deck treats me. Spellbomb's annoying. Life from the Loam was a great potential pickup. Oops, all explorations. I mean, if the top of my deck keeps looking like this, I am in bad shape. I'm going to take 4 and go to 11, and we'll see if my opponent just pluses Tamiyo or wants another Force of Will immediately. Pluses. We hold. I could Boseiju a Spellbomb. I don't really think that makes a lot of sense. I think this game is all about Field of the Dead. Just fully, is there a Field of the Dead in my top X number of cards before this Goif or whatever kills me? That is a Murktide Regent. That's real bad. Because now there is a flying threat, so Field of the Dead doesn't fully bail me out on its own. And I just die. That's really disappointing. We tend to be good at matchups that look like this one, but it did not break our way. Alright, I think this player either plays Goblins or Doomsday. Goblins today. That's fine. So I am not doing anything quickly here. The difference between Manabond and Exploration is pretty big with this hand since I have 3 spells. But I can hopefully just chain Malevolent Rumbles together and end up somewhere cool. I have great tools in my deck for this matchup. Like Tabernacle is insane. Maze of Ith is good. I don't remember. This makes a 1/1 with Raid? Yes. Oh shit, it is Exploration. So let's play Exploration. Let's go land drop, more other land drop, fetch. Different names matter here. So I think I'm going to pick up a Bayou. I have Tabby. I have Tabby in the board. Let's just Living Wish for Tabby. And then next turn I will presumably empty my hand. What about Field of the Dead? Is that better? Is winning good? Unclear. Tabernacle is more immediately good. Field of the Dead has much higher upside. I'm going to take Tabernacle. I think I can get away with Field of the Dead and likely work towards winning the game here. But I think there's just too much upside to taking Tabernacle. Like, against this card in particular. It's just very, very strong. Ooh. Combo. So I take 4. My opponent files in another Sear Slicer Goblin. Gets a couple of 1/1s. They can throw maybe one of these at my face. Negative. Lair of the Hydra. Alright, so let's churn through some spells here. So Malevolent Rumble. I get Boseiju, which is interesting. Then I will 2 mana Malevolent Rumble. Maze. Maze is okay. I'll pick up Maze. Play Maze. Do I want to get rid of Aether Vial? Or do I just want this Boseiju in play? I think I want to get rid of Aether Vial. It's a little awkward with Tabernacle being part of the plan, though. Like, it's actively giving my opponent a bonus mana source. Maybe I don't. Alright. I will Manabond. So my opponent's going to end up losing their token, which is not that big of a deal. So I can go ahead and block one of these. I can maze another one and only take 2 here. It's going to be more than that in practice. It has another land. I kind of need a 2-drop off the top. Otherwise, this Tabernacle is not going to outperform Field of the Dead. Broadside is presumably going to throw one of these. Yep. Oh no, it's going to throw a Goblin. That's fine. So I'm at 7. So my opponent can outperform me here. Let's find something to do. Exploration is not it. Oh, I have Life from the Loam. Oh shit. I didn't realize that. Oh, that got put in off one of the Malevolent Rumbles. Okay. So I Life from the Loam. Field of the Dead. Nice. So Field of the Dead is 1. And then it's 2 Ghost Quarters, probably. The broadside throwing things at my face is currently my biggest issue. So fetching for bonus things isn't the best. So cast. I don't have to play these all at the same time. Ghost Quarter. End step. I will put this in via Manabond. Make another one. And now there's some question of how many basic mountains does my opponent have in their deck. Like, am I actually going to deny mana by doing this, or do I just Ghost Quarter myself for more zombies? I think I'm probably going to Ghost Quarter myself. Ooh, something is happening. That's a disaster. I never beat this card. Because now that my opponent just throws everything and drains me out, and it doesn't matter that I have combat lockdown. That's super unfortunate. Yep, I have plenty of agency in that game to do things slightly differently. I'm probably going to sideboard with a light touch here. Like, these things are reasonable tutor targets, and, you know, I could see myself getting any of these cards in different circumstances. I might play some Dismembers to help me get out of the early game, and I might cut the One Ring. It is totally fine and good if it works, but I see myself wanting to Manabond a decent chunk of the time and finding that awkward and in the way. This has Tabernacle, but no way to accelerate land drops. I don't think I'm going to keep that on a 7. I don't think I like this one either. This has Exploration or Manabond. This one's definitely a keep. I'm never keeping Living Wish here. Then it's harder. I think I'm trying to high roll with Manabond in a little while. I'll get the basics so I don't get wastelanded before I make my second play. Then pass. See if opponent has Vial or a Goblin Lackey that really puts me under the gun. It is a Goblin Lackey, which is scary. So, how high do we roll? That's pretty high. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is only 6 names for Field of the Dead. Tabernacle is good. I can try to double Ghost Quarter my opponent's mountains out of play here. I'm gonna put these lands into play. I can also just potentially Ghost Quarter my Wasteland to get a different named card, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Snow-Covered Forest, 7. So if my opponent attacks Lackey into it, I actually have an onboard trick. Nice. Just gonna double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Snow-Covered Forest, 7. Snow-Covered Forest, 2/2 zombie, eat Goblin Lackey, and now most things that I draw are pretty darn good. Opponent's just got a land drop for the remainder of their turn. I am totally fine playing that zombie. That's not what I am looking for right now. I'll do my 2 points of chip damage. I was thinking about potential haste creatures, but some of them, like Broadside, have Menace, where it doesn't super matter. Opponent can now play a 3-drop. It is Broadside, so I will take 2 from that. That's not that big of a deal. It's probably worth 4 life to take out that creature. Do I want to, like, mess with this stuff? I might. I think I'm okay wastelanding this. And then I can make my opponent play for their Broadside, pay for their Broadside, and then dismember it afterwards. That will very easily be worth my 4 life. Don't have any cheeky ways of making black right now. Opponent's got second land drop and Battlecry Goblin. Sure. Now I'll probably hold back this zombie instead of attacking with it. Life from the Loam. Wasteland, Wooded Foothills, Ghost Quarter. 1 and 2. Wasteland, make a friend. Wasteland, kill Skull. Yeah. At this point, I just bury my opponent. On the draw, obviously, things are a little harder. I think I am okay with how I have boarded. I have a perfectly reasonable set of cards here that does not accelerate out these land drops, and I think ultimately falls behind. I straight up did not know Field of Ruin was in this deck. Yeah, 1 Field of Ruin. Okay. I think I'll mulligan this one, and I might keep something similar on 6. This is fine. I don't have strong payoff, but Tabernacle plus Dismember is enough to get me out of the early game, and to the point where I can do something more impressive. I'm just going to put Lair of the Hydra back into the deck. That's technically a win condition later on, but is not really good right now. There's a Vial. We've got a Boseiju to potentially answer that. Again, there's some tension between turning Vial into a land for Tabernacle-based reasons. 19. Then we'll drop Exploration, and this is probably going to just be a Surveil land. Wasteland is fine. I am okay being wastelanded off of a colored source here if my opponent wants to do that. I don't need that. Manabond. Not fantastic yet. I will probably just Surveil again. And I think I'm going to get rid of Vial. Drop the extra land? I think I'll drop the extra land. So before my opponent can tick that Vial up, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it. Again, Boseijoing that is kind of awkward. The land and the Vial are both mana in air quotes, just in different ways. Double Wasteland. Broadside is fine. I think I'm going to take 2 from that so that I can Surveil. 16. Fetch. Edge Maze. Maze of Ith is fine. I'm going to Maze of Ith. Going to Manabond. And then pass turn. I do have 1 black mana for paying for Dismember this time. Another Broadside. Scary. So yeah. This means I don't take damage this turn because I just Maze of Ith the other one. So that's fine. But my opponent has double Wasteland here. Lair of the Hydra came back. I don't want it. I think my opponent's very favored here. Well, shit. Alright. I have a Walking Ballista that I could tutor for. And the mana to cast said card, but I die so quickly here. Like, I take 4 on the surface this turn, but it can very easily become more. Yeah, so this is now 3, 6, 7, 8, plus throw for 5, dead. Yep. GG's. Not putting up a good showing today on my end. Okay, I have no mana here. No colored mana, that is. So this one is a no-go. The second hand is very strong. I will keep this one. Let's work towards Field of the Dead rather than work towards Tabernacle. I probably Manabond on 1, Life from the Loam on 2, and dump all my lands into play. Oh, don't just turn 1 me. Okay. This is 8 cast, or something in that general ballpark. Not the best hits for Emery. Very hilariously, if I had kept the Tabernacle, it would have killed Emery. That's hilarious. What if I drew Tabernacle for turn? Did not get to call the shot there. Alright, fetch. I'm probably not getting Wastelanded here, but I still need an untapped land for this turn. Manabond. Do I just dump in now? Dump in now, dredge Life from the Loam. Dump in again next turn. I'm a little vulnerable to Graveyard Hate if I do that. I don't think I dump everything in. Like, it's very possible that my opponent has some sort of main deck Tormod's Crypt, or Soul Guide Lantern style card that they could hit with Emery. Alright, there's replaying of Bobble. Hey, what was I just talking about? That's why I didn't go all in. Backing the Bobble. Opponent gets their redraw. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 different names. I'm going to go ahead and cast the Naked Life from the Loam. If my opponent wants to nuke the Life from the Loam, cool. If they do, it will potentially impact their Metalcraft count. This is going to be an awkward game of Magic the Gathering. My opponent is accruing card advantage via Emery. They have a Soul Guide Lantern in play that makes my Life from the Loam worse. I am going to go ahead and dredge. Ooh, Tabby. So I will go ahead and now cast this. And this might be my... Ooh, okay, they're going to force, sure. Do I want to play the other Manabond? Yes, because Snow-Covered Forest has the same name. That's probably not changing things much. Sure, I am going to just make that land drop. It maybe costs me 1/2/2 zombie later, but then plays around something random like Brazen Borrower happening. Alright, now opponent is going to nuke the graveyard and not mess around with it anymore. That's honestly fair. What lands were there to target? Hey, the Metalcraft thing that I was exactly talking about. Okay, cool. So, Bobble in, Metalcraft on again. They're leaving this up. A Burgeoning. Are we rumbling? Doesn't really feel good. I don't think that life difference matters. So, I don't think countering this is good. Like, I have multiple mana bonds here, and I'm not dumping lands into play. So I probably don't need the extra land drops. I'm also just intentionally missing land drops here. So I think that Metallic Rebuke could be served better elsewhere. My opponent might just view that, like, hey, my mana is so tight, I should just use it when I can. Like, they need to keep this Mishra's Bauble around for the purposes of Emery. But I might have tried to be a little more patient there. All right, that's Soul Guide Lantern coming back. And Thoughtcast. And another Thoughtcast. How many basics you got? 2? I don't think I play this. I think we're just working towards a Field of the Dead explosion. Cycle Mishras. And I'm just going to hold up a Lair of the Hydra activation if things get weird. I don't think the chip damage matters. I think I am going to win or lose by an incredibly large margin. Opponent is on the Painter version. Emery just getting back Lotus Petal is fine. Maze of Ith. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different names. I need one more land. A new Emery. My opponent can just dig a little bit deeper looking for a Grindstone, which they do not find. We do see stock up here, which is not surprising. That is a reason to play a blue Ancient Tomb deck right now. We're just going to bobble again and cycle immediately. Opponent sends in with Painter. I can't punish with Lair of the Hydra. I don't have enough lands in play to kill that creature. All right, fantastic. So just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Manabond. Yes. We get some triggers. This is what we've been working towards for the past few turns. Living Wish? Living Wish is great. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any land I play, literally any, should trigger this. I think I'm going to Ghost Quarter Ancient Tomb here. It's going to go ahead and take some damage to cycle. There is another basic island, which is fine. I was not expecting that to be full-on land destruction. I wanted that. Sink into stew for a zombie. That's where we're at. Okay. I wanted to get rid of the Ancient Tomb, because if I turn it into an island, that is still denying a mana. My opponent is drawing a ton of cards with Emery. It's pretty likely at some point that my opponent just finds a Grindstone and I die instantly. Shadow Spear is slightly annoying, honestly. Makes it way harder for me to just send in a whole bunch of zombies and kill my opponent. Sure. Feels weird to put it on Emery and not a Painter to me. I guess it's just making as many X3s as possible. So I cast a Living Wish. I have Collector Oof, right? Do. Collector Oof. Cast Collector Oof. I am now much safer, and we chill. I now think my average draw is probably better than my opponent's average draw. My lands are zombies. I can get in there with a big Lair of the Hydra now. Yeah, so Deuter. Oh, same name. Oops. Yeah, whatever. How big's Lair? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 4? Eh. Yeah, it might just be better as a land with a name in play than my opponent throwing everything in front of the bus to stop it. My opponent super aggressively used that Sink into Stupor. That's annoying. It's not the worst because Maze of Ith stops the constructs and Collector Oof stops the Grindstone, but as soon as something goes wrong, it is absolutely awkward. I do not want that bonus Manabond. I'll play it because there's not really a downside of me doing so, other than having to click through this Manabond triggers every turn. That's a reasonable downside. Another Ancient Tomb. Boseiju. Interesting. I can Boseiju the Urza Saga, so my opponent doesn't get the second construct token, or the ability to search for a Grindstone so that if they bounce Collector Oof, it's a problem. Opponent said, not gonna lie, this is the worst round of Magic I have played in a long time. Don't worry, it's the worst round of Magic you've played so far. Someday, you will play a worse round. Opponent did that with Ancient Tomb and not with Islands. Opponent said they were a fan of a channel. They might just be a little nervous. Legend ruling a Mox Opal. You need Revolt? Are you emptying your hand? Alright. That's an artifact. Collector Oof doing some heavy lifting here. I could kill this construct token by quad blocking it. I don't think I need to do that. That's another Maze of Ith that does not trigger Field of the Dead. I'm going to hold that one. Alright, opponent's not even going to bother to attack. We're now staring at each other until I develop Inevitability or they find a bounce spell for Collector Oof. Yavimaya. And we're in there. Now Field of the Dead is live. My Lair of the Hydra is now a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish creature. I don't need to be attacking yet. I guess I did turn their Ancient Tombs into lands that don't hurt them anymore by playing that Yavimaya, but it is probably just correct to do so. There is a Sink into Stupor on Collector Oof. So if my opponent can present a win right now, it's a big deal. Shadow Spear on Construct token is not scary. That is Thoughtcast. Tamiyo is a little annoying, honestly. Taking 2, moving Shadow Spear to Construct token. Emery for Soul Guide Lantern. And cast. Alright, no attack with the Construct token. I don't know if my opponent created a large enough window with Sink into Stupor there. If they just have another counterspell now and they can counter it on the way back down, it's fine. Fuck you, Manabond. And that is what's happening. So my opponent has 4 blockers here. I'm not pushing lethal this turn. if I Maze of Ith, the thing that is blocked by the construct token, right? So my Lair of the Hydra would get blocked. 3 of these get through. 6. Yeah, I'm not pushing lethal this turn. Maybe this does come down to chip damage after all. So I send with all of them anyway? Yeah, I send with all of them anyway. The chip damage might end up mattering. I'm going to get 4 damage through. Maze that. Opponent goes to 5, and then I'll have lethal next turn. Booting up the Lair of the Hydra does not change that to lethal. A different creature gets blocked, and I force 2 more damage. I'm going to discard this 4th fucking Manabond thing. I don't want to... I'm not clicking through more of these triggers. New Urza's Saga. Sacking Soul Guide Lantern. And they're going to replay it. And presumably just cycle immediately. Yep. That flips ThrabenU. New Emery. Still no Grindstone. That's a new ThrabenU. ThrabenU pluses. So now my opponent has a whopping 5 blockers. Ooh. That's not bad. I probably just do that immediately without mathing anything out here. Get rid of my mana bonds, that's fine. I don't need them. So this gets rid of a blocker and the thing that is giving lifelink. So now I could make this huge. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could make this a 5/5, but it's really a 4/4. Yeah, I think I'm going to boot this up. But I leave back 1 maze. Yeah, that's fine. I think I win the game this turn if I'm a little more aggressive with chip damage earlier in the game. Oh god. So this is 3 damage, yeah. If I get any more aggressive with the Lair of the Hydra earlier in the game, I win this turn. We'll see if that ends up costing me. Like my opponent just top decks a Grindstone here. Shit. By not leaving open a second maze... Yeah, no, it costs me. My opponent gets Grindstone here. Yep. Alright, that loss is on me. I just assumed that I would win or lose this game by massive amounts, and then I repeatedly drew Maze of Iths that were not triggering Field of the Dead. Oops. I probably want Dismember here. Probably go down Burgeoning. I might board Caracas in as something that I can just naturally draw to be good against both ThrabenU and Emery at the beginning of the game, because I'm going to be Living Wishing for Collector Oof or Rex Sage most of the time. So let's get that in there. And I could consider adjusting to board these in as well. Lair of the Hydra is going to become Caracas. How's Tabernacle? Tabernacle seems kind of mid. I turn a Tabernacle into a Field of the Dead. And then probably be okay with that from here. Get off the screen, Mulch. Thank you. This is fine. That's all that it is. I think I have higher upside hands. This is a lot higher upside. I think I'm going to keep this, get rid of Manabond, keep 2 explorations, and assume that that ends up doing the same thing, but more consistently. So Yavimaya, exploration, drop, excuse me, drop Field of the Dead as the bonus land, and then next turn we mulch into some number of land drops, depending on how the variance treats us. There's ThrabenU. We are really good at drawing copies of Exploration and Manabond this game. Oh, shit. Yes. So, play Forest, play Exploration. I have a Yavimaya in play, so additional land drop off of Ghost Quarter, additional land drop Field of the Dead. I don't need to make this as an additional land drop this turn. We're pretty close to going ham. My opponent might need to counter this mulch next turn, or I start just kind of going wild with zombies. That's fine. Are you going to take out my Ghost Quarter so that I can't stop Urza's Saga? Yes. That's fine, because mulch is going to hit Wasteland. That clue does give Metalcraft to Mox Opal. Shadow Spear is fine. Manabond, unnecessary. We mulch. These are good mulches. 1, 2, 3, 4 different names. I guess I do Manabond then. Yeah. And then move to end step. Put them in. There be triggers. Keep the untapped one. Yeah, honestly, fair. When my opponent did not have Force of Will for the first mulch there, I felt like that one was going to strongly tilt in my favor. I think I will go ahead and resubmit as is. My opponent has kept a 7-card hand, and I have a pretty mid opener. I can Malevolent Rumble and try to look for something that makes me extra land drops, and that would be okay. I'm not sure whether or not this is better than just mulliganing. Like, if the Malevolent Rumbles resolve, this has the potential to make a lot of zombies. Let's try it out. Edison wanted to see Malevolent Rumble in action. I think this one's a mulligan, though. Bobble. Opponent cycling immediately. Starting on Urza's Saga. Sure. Take your redraw. That's almost good. I'm going to hedge maze immediately. I'm going to say that's fine. It means that I can answer the Urza's Saga. Even if my opponent just plays Ancient Tomb and makes one construct. I think it's the tutoring that I care about here. So let's just Wasteland you. You can have your 1/1. It will admittedly get bigger. But if my opponent is on a painter-centric hand, this slowdown here matters a lot. Stock up? What are we doing? There's some issue of paying for something. It is stock up. I will take 2 here. Boseiju. That's an okay magic card. I don't need to necessarily do anything with that yet. So let's Malevolent Rumble immediately. Those are not the cards that I am looking for, unfortunately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have enough names already. I am accordingly just going to take another Maze of Ith. So I've made my land drop for the turn, so I cannot cast another Malevolent Rumble immediately. This Eldrazi spawn token is probably just going to gain me about 4 life when I block a construct token at some point. Sure. I think I can cash it in for more than 3 later. I'll take 3. Like, these constructs are about to be bigger. I don't think I cast Malevolent Rumble this turn. I think I just guaranteed get rid of the Urza's Saga. Grab a forest. I could cast Malevolent Rumble now, though. Could cast Malevolent Rumble now. I think it's going to get countered. But if this gets countered and then an Exploration or a Manabond lives later, that's great. Yeah. Pass turn. And now Exploration will let me probably beat the fair stuff that my opponent is doing. And hopefully I don't just die to Painter plus Grindstone activate immediately. Kappa? Kappa has Ward Infinity. Ward Infinity is pretty good. It also is very good at getting through zombies. That is problematic. I will cash this in for 5 life. That is fine. Ooh, I hit a life from the loam. I have so many lands that I am currently not deploying. I don't think I take that. There's another land that I can't easily deploy. So I will Exploration, which if my opponent has a counterspell, they should counter it. They do. So I will play Maze of Ith so I don't take damage from this. And I don't know that I can live long enough to get to 6 mana to kill that with a Boseiju. Sure. What if I Boseiju the construct token? Okay. That's scary. What if I Boseiju the construct token and then just dedicate literally all of my mana to Kappa Cannoneer after this? I guess I don't need to make the decision immediately, right? I can just maze this for right now and then potentially Boseiju at end of turn. And there's stock up. Yeah. And another Urza Saga. Okay, we've got problems. This is the thing that is killing me soonest. But, like, Painter is scary in the future. This is scary in the future. I am not dredging. Living Wish. I don't currently have time to cast that. I need an untapped land, which means doing this. Guess I don't need to show my opponent that I'm planning on mazing this. That's what's happening. If I can survive for a little while, I can work towards Living Wish for Lumra. But I'm not sure that I can survive a little while with more constructs coming. And constructs with haste at that. Kappa big. So I fetch. I want regular forest. Maze. Ward Infinity. God, is it another one? Ugh. Yeah, it is another Kappa. I don't think I can beat both ward creatures here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tap out. GG. I think I lost that match for not getting in some chip damage when I could have. This is very awkward. I have ways of making extra land drops. I have an incredibly powerful draw engine, but if something happens to this or I don't get the mana to cast it, everything falls apart. It's not like I'm getting prizes in this league anyway. Let's see what the One Ring looks like. I fully believe that this hand is a mulligan. All right. Well, that's not bad. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit here and think about that for a minute. Because while that looks good on the surface, I need mana to play the One Ring. And the One Ring should easily win me this game. Yeah, I'm not going to destroy their land. I don't just, like, immediately lose to a large creature getting into play. Null Drifter. Strong. Annihilator 1 is a pain in the butt. Like, very specifically. These lands don't produce mana. Null Drifter is a punish. I'll live. I'm going to play a Burgeoning. I'm going to play a Burgeoning that I will sacrifice to a Null Drifter trigger. Boots are fine. They're annoying for the Ward 1. So, maze that. A. Totally fine just sacking a Burgeoning there. Opponent does have more mana. Alright, fantastic. So this is the point where if my next spell resolves, I think I just win the game. I have no ability to play around a Daze or other counterspell here, though. Oh shit, it just worked. Nice. So we'll draw. There's a Blast Zone. I'll make that as a land drop and pass the turn. And I'm very close to just taking over the game with Field of the Dead. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different lands. I think I probably just sacrifice Exploration and assume that then the following turn I can start sacrificing zombies. The Lava Spur Boots are good here. Yep. So now that's effectively Annihilator 2 on my stuff. So be it. I'm going to get rid of Exploration and 1 land. It's probably Blast Zone, even though that could get rid of Lava Spur Boots. Oh shit, I forgot to float mana here. Then it's Wasteland? Then it's Wasteland since I messed up. This lets me maze the one that does more damage. Oh wait, I have 1 ring protection this turn. Alright, I lose 1. Tabernacle. So let's cast Manabond first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plenty of stuff. I get forced. I have not made my land drop yet. Not made my normal land drop yet. Fuck, maybe I should have done that in the other order, because Manabond is the one that I actually want to resolve here. Oops. Remunap? Or do I just want to, like, get something like a Walking Ballista and play it for X equals 1 to have a permanent to sacrifice? I'll buy that. I maze 1, take 4. Sacrifice a land and a Walking Ballista. It's fine. I should have played my cards in the other order, though, I think. I think my Living Wish looks good enough to get countered. Alright, so Annihilator 1, I sacrifice Ballista. I maze Avith, the one that does not have Ward. I sacrifice some random land. I take 4. And then hopefully the One Ring just powers through here. I'm going to need to close the game quickly once I deal with this stuff. Otherwise, I just die to my own One Ring while I'm dirtling around. Burgeoning is not great. Just drawing lands there is not good. So yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The land that I play is number 6. If it's a different name, which I don't think it's going to be, because I think I need to play another maze. Now I'm not taking damage, but I'm still losing permanence. I don't think I'm close enough where I can just try to finish with Lair of the Hydra. The problem with playing exactly 2 copies of the One Ring is that I am very bad at drawing the next one. So maze 1, maze 2, get rid of Burgeoning. Do I get rid of the One Ring this time? No, I don't think I do. I think I take 1 more set of draws with it and then get rid of it. Get rid of Boseiju. Soul Guide Lantern means that Life from the Loam is not great. Opponent cycles immediately. Opponent is not trying to get rid of my One Ring there. That is the bounce spell on the other side. I'm not crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and draw. Oh my god. That was 5 lands in a row on the top of the deck. That's frustrating. That is frustrating. I'm gonna Surveil. Exploration is great. I will draw that next turn. I will then pass the turn and discard. I'll discard Tabernacle. We're not going the destroy all the permanents route of this game. I think this turn, my opponent could consider not attacking anymore and just let me die to my ring. So now I sacrifice the ring. Azavith, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Land drops 6 and 7. I start making zombies. Take 4 for doing that. Sounds good. I mean, it doesn't sound good, but it sounds like it's what's happening. Exploration. Seems like opponent is countering. Okay, I'm dead. That was an incredibly bad copy of the One Ring. We just spit up all lands from it, including literally 5 lands in a row on one turn. My opponent was not doing much, like, within respect to what my deck is capable of. Like, Annihilator 1 or even Annihilator 2 wasn't, in theory, that good. But the One Ring just absolutely ate fucking shit. I did potentially have some other lines that I could have taken that game. Like, I could have wastelanded my opponent on turn 1, taken them off of Ancient Tomb, and then not eaten Null Drifter on 2. I wasn't thinking about Null Drifter, I was thinking about the Phyrexian Dreadnought-sized threats. Say Levy. I might need to play Dismembers. This is in theory good if it resolves. In theory. That was a bad showcase for it there. I want these Dismembers for Null Drifters. I'm going to leave this in the board. Tabernacle is a high variance card in this matchup. I think I'm going to turn 1 Tabernacle into a Field of the Dead. And then call that good. Okay. I have 2 mana. I have a bunch of really good 2-drops. I have 2 Dismembers for opposing creatures. I'm going to hope this is fine, but I really would like to naturally hit a good thing to do in terms of getting extra land drops. Opponent has the Torpor Orb again immediately. Tabernacle is okay. I think I Malevolent Rumble this turn. Malevolent Rumble can hit a thing that lets me make extra land drops. 2 of those lands are legendary. We're going to take the one that is not legendary. And I've got a Dismember available for a Null Drifter if that happens. Saga is not immediately scary, but could be scary in the future. Man, I want extra land drops. Let's mulch and try to find a wasteland here. Whiff. That is 3 bad lands. Do I want to surveil, or do I want to just Life from the Loam? I think surveilling is honestly just better. Yeah, I think surveilling is better because of how good the extra land drops are to me right now. We will just discard some land. It should have been the other fetch land for different names for Field of the Dead. It's unlikely to matter because I'm going to fetch with that Misty Rainforest immediately so that I can surveil. Hey, that's what we want. So, exploration. It's in play. I am fine with Tabernacle. I'm fine with Maze of Ith. I will then Life from the Loam. I get 2 decent targets, and then another thing that I will potentially just Legend Rule away at some point. Another micro mistake. I could have gotten the black Surveil land because I had Dismembers in hand and potentially saved some life. This Life from the Loam has been on the stack for a while. Opponent is responding. So I've made my land drops for the turn. I've made my land drops for the turn. Opponent did not make Urza's Saga tokens. They said, sorry, phone. Okay, that's fine. Am I just dead to something like Painter combo here? Alright. So I think opponent was just not in the game headspace yet, so they missed their Urza Saga tokens. My Life from the Loam is gone. I have so many lands that are going to just let me take over the game with zombie tokens. And I've got Maze of Ith checking Phyrexian Dreadnought. JK. There is very little difference between me paying for this and not. Burgeoning. Sure. I'm pretty likely to just die, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Land drop 7. I guess I am just aggressively fetching things out of my deck here to make enough zombies to block a Phyrexian Dreadnought. My own Tabernacle is problematic then, isn't it? I could also just hit Living Wish or a Oseju, and that would be cool. Burgeoning, though. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 power. We're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, with Dismember. So, fetch. I think I have a Bayou. I do have a Bayou. Just for a thing with a different name. So, Let's dismember this creature immediately, like so. But now it's a 7/7. I can dismember again if need be. I don't have any basics. Let's get a snow-covered one this time. Then fetch one more time. Get an underground mortuary to be able to surveil. Manabond is unnecessary. Now I'll go ahead and go to blocks. Opponent drawing a card. Sure. We're going to block with everything here. I could dismember again to save more zombies. I think I am just okay losing 3. I just want to have the dismember afterwards for if my opponent follows up with another threat. There's probably some thinking to do here that I'm not going to do in terms of Living Wish mana count, paying for this Eldrazi spawn, that sort of stuff. Let's wasteland that Ancient Tomb. And now the next dismember I cast, I don't even have to pay life for. Once at 13, I've got them on a 2-turn clock with zombies, assuming nothing weird. Press down. Yeah, that's fine. Burgeoning. I will make a land drop here. That's fine. It's a zombie. Opponent fetches. Is surveilling. And keeps their card. Press down gets sacrificed. At this point, I'm probably going to just get rid of my Eldrazi spawn. A Boseiju. I can turn my Maze of Ith back on if I need to. There's 10 damage. Not 10 damage. Sure. Opponent goes to 2. Press down goes away. I'm going to hold Boseiju as a potential spell. I don't think I need more zombies than what I currently have. That's fine. And there's the concession. I am okay with how we've boarded. Hand's fine. But that's all that it is fine. Life from the Loam probably makes it actively good. I'm going to pick up a land. I think I'm going to lead on Burgeoning. If that one gets countered and I get to keep Exploration, that's cool. I will probably get to put in the Hedge Maze either way. Like, my opponent's not going to keep a 1-lander over there. Brainstorm's fine. Alright, that's what I'm looking for. This lets me Hedge Maze. Do not want another Burgeoning. And I would love for this to be a non-basic. It is not. Prismatic Ending. Sure, we've still got Exploration and Manabond coming, though. Ghost Quarter is potentially actually land destruction here. So let's Exploration. It looks like my stuff is going to resolve. Let's see if this blows up a land. Let's see if we can take out my opponent's islands. We can. Nice. So then play Wasteland. Life from the Loam with 2 targets. It resolves. Opponent is in deep shit here. They could go Ancient Tomb, Phyrexian Dreadnought, and try to put me under the gun. That's not what they need. I will absolutely dredge Life from the Loam. These cards are good. Land drop 1 is Ghost Quarter. I will Ghost Quarter Basic Plains. Not even floating mana there. I will Wasteland fetch land. My opponent can fetch. And I will Life from the Loam, Ghost Quarter, Wasteland. I think Field of the Dead is the last one. 1 and 2. Here is the Desperation Brainstorm. I think if this Life from the Loam resolves, I win the game. Okay, it resolves. So now, I think I just go for the Manabond as well. That's greedy. I don't... It's like fine to do so, but I don't need to. Like this is just working. Yeah. So we put a win on the board in the final round. All right. So how do we feel here? I did not like this version of the deck. It's not that different from what I played previously, but the differences mattered. The One Ring did not have a great showing today. I didn't draw it that many times, and when I did, it just spit up so many lands. I think I just want more Mulches and Winding Way style cards in the deck. Honestly, I'm not even sure how good Living Wish is. It's possible that I should just give up on Living Wish and build this with Mulches and Winding Ways and a shit ton of 2-drop card advantage. Living Wishes never got me Lumra today, which is my big payoff. It got me other reasonable cards, including a pretty clutch Collector Oof. But maybe Living Wish is not the way to be going. Current Legacy is very fast. I'm good at slowing down games, but maybe Living Wish is just not working with the mana bonds well enough. whereas the Mulch and Winding Way style cards that can fill your hand are really high upside. So I think if I were going to play this again, I would cut the One Rings and the Malevolent Rumbles, turn that into the final Mulch and a couple of Winding Ways. Could consider the Last Life from the Loam as well. I'm not sure how I feel about going up to the 10th 1 mana bonus land enablers. I absolutely drew too many of those effects today, but they did smooth out some opening hands, and I do want one of those in just about every opening hand. Maybe you do 9. Unclear. The cards that were in my sideboard, generally speaking, were all used, including Walking Ballista in a very weird way. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs down. If the metagame slows down significantly, I think revisiting this style of deck is a perfectly good idea, though. That was still enjoyable to play. Like, the games were tough. A lot of micro decisions mattered a lot. There was still good agency here, but we are always coming out on the wrong side of things. Alright, folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and if you need some cards, you know where to go. See ya!